Hi, I'm Katrina, and this is Boldly Challenging Ableism. I'm your host, Katrina Simons. I'm the Community Program Specialist at the Institute on Community Integration at the University of Minnesota. This program explores various topics that impact people with disabilities in our community. Each episode addresses a different aspect of our society within the context of ableism. Ableism is the prejudice that stems from the belief or belief system that assumes someone is less capable or less worthy because of a real or perceived difference in ability or function. On this program, we hope to answer some questions you may have been afraid to ask, or maybe some you didn't even know you had. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy the conversation. Hi, I'm Katrina, and thanks for joining us on Boldly. Today we're going to talk to Emma, the teacher. She's going to join us, and we're going to talk a little bit about first the challenges of teaching, and then after that we're going to talk a little bit about what some challenges that come with being a regular ed teacher that maybe contribute to ableism in our schools. Okay. Welcome, Emma.
Hi, Katrina. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about, wait, 1 second. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your teaching job?
Yeah, so I teach 9th grade science. I teach earth science, and I only teach 9th graders, and I teach in a high school.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that for? You don't have to tell us exactly, just like a ballpark.
Yeah, I'm finishing up my 3rd year.
Okay. And a lot of teachers talk about like a shell shock kind of thing that happens when they first start teaching. Did you have that?
I would say probably not. I had a lot of experience in my student teaching. I feel like that prepared me pretty well. 9th graders are unique, so that was different than my student teaching, but otherwise, no, I feel like I was pretty well prepared.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we'll talk about another factor with that later. What made you want to be an educator in the first place?
Both my parents are teachers or used to be teachers. And I always kind of thought I would probably like to be a teacher. But then I was thinking for a while, maybe I shouldn't be a teacher because maybe I'm just saying that because my parents. But then I really liked science. I always really liked science in school and outside of school. But I knew I didn't want to work in a lab because I wanted to work with people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, those two things combined kind of brought me back to teaching. And I think it suits me really well. I really enjoy it.
Okay. What do you like about science?
I like that it's always changing. I like that I can always be learning new things. And I just was always drawn to it, specifically biology. I really enjoy life science.
That's cool. Okay. Both your parents are educators, but they work in elementary. Why did you choose the upper grades?
I do really enjoy working with younger kids. I have a lot of experience babysitting and nannying, and I have younger siblings, but I really like high school because I feel like I'm challenged by my students, intellectually challenged, and I really enjoy that. I love when they ask me intelligent questions that challenge me or that maybe I don't know the answer to, and then I'm always able to, or then I have to go find the answer.
Okay. Oh, sorry, you go.
No, that's okay. I feel like I like that they're able to understand scientific concepts at a level where we can actually talk about it together.
Cool. Okay. Do you guys sit around at the dinner table and talk about which age is better?
We do sometimes, yeah. We talk about how different they are, but also sometimes how similar they are, because you'd be surprised the similarities between a 9th grader and a 4th grader.
Well, also, and I feel there's, when you go to high school, okay, so you go to school and you grow and mature the whole time, and that's lovely. And then I feel 9th grade is such a shell shock for the student that there's almost a little bit of regression.
Absolutely.
It's okay because they end up, adults at the end of it. But yeah. I feel there's a little, a tiny bit of regression, and they start forgetting stuff. And and just like not organizing their thoughts as well as they were in 7th and 8th grade because they're in a new environment. So I feel like that would be similar.
Yes, completely.
Because I feel like in fourth grade, I feel like you have to grow up a lot. Like they always say, like in K through 3, you learn to read, and in fourth grade on, you read to learn.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, so I feel like you both have like that phase because 4th grade and 9th grade.
Yes.
Okay. Do you so you like teaching science?
I do. I really enjoy teaching science. I love it.
Okay, so there's not like another topic you would pick if you could, not another subject?
I think if I was ever going to teach a different subject, it would probably be English, but I'm able to still, like, I really enjoy reading, and I'm able to talk about reading with my students a lot because we read a lot of the same books when they're in high school, so I don't really mind. I'm really happy with science.
Well, also, like, a lot of the, really at that, I mean, I don't know, because I'm not a teacher, but I feel like at that age, like, you could still have good discussions with your students because you still need them to read the text. Yes. And then whenever you talk about, like, the text they read, that's going to lead to other things.
Yes.
Okay. That's great. Okay. Are there, like, certain concepts that you feel conflicted about teaching, like, in the current polarized political climate?
I think I feel confident that we need to, like, talk about all topics with kids. But I think there's definitely, like, nuance with it. And I do sometimes when I approach topics, like, I know in my head that it could be controversial, but I'm coming at it from a science perspective where there are clear facts and realities.
Yeah.
And so I try to come at it from that perspective rather than, like, and not leave room for subjectivity.
Yeah.
But I definitely think about it when I'm teaching those topics.
Yeah, I feel like especially in 9th grade, because they don't quite have, like, when they're juniors and seniors, I feel like they're a little bit better at, like, discerning fact from opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, 9th grade, I feel like can be a very sensitive age.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And also, like, the education standards, like, they're not decided by, like, they're decided by, like, a bunch of people, right? So, like, it's not like if one person is uncomfortable with a certain subject, nobody gets to teach it. It's like you put it up for debate, right?
Right. Yes.
Okay. There's, like, a governing body.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Good to know.
Yes.
Okay. Have you seen Abbott Elementary?
I haven't seen the entire show, but I have seen a lot of it. Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like it is an accurate portrayal of challenges that schools face today? One of my other friends is from Philadelphia, and she says yes, but then some of my friends were like, no, that's not accurate at all.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty accurate. I mean, it's a TV show, so it's not going to be like, exactly like reality, but I would say it does kind of portray maybe some of the financial problems that school districts experience. But I would also say what I really like about it is that it shows that, like, there's a really strong community in a school among teachers.
Yeah.
And I feel like the show shows that really well. And that's something I've experienced in my school too.
Oh, good. Okay. I just feel like in my school, there was a thing, like, they didn't have enough money to buy more paper at a certain point in the year. Like, so we like weren't allowed to use paper, but it wasn't quite like computer time yet. And so paper was still a thing. So then they would, like, ration the copies, and that was a thing. So I don't know. I like
it. There's definitely things like that sometimes happen, but I do really like the show too. It's funny too.
Yeah. What is your biggest worry when you think about your students today?
I would say probably currently my biggest worry is just about AI in general. It's, like, really becoming prevalent with my students, and they have access to computer. They have every student has a device that they use. And I feel like AI is moving too fast for us to catch up with. Schools. And I want to be able to teach my students how to use it maybe ethically, but right now all I see is them using it for shortcuts. And I feel like the shortcuts that they're taking are just going to lead to like bigger gaps later on and where they don't know how to do things because they just relied on AI for it at a younger age.
Yeah. Do you have any like things that you have put in place so they can't use it as much?
I try to honestly right now, until I've come up with a better plan, I've tried to right now just kind of prevent them from using it in general. Um, I've had a few conversations about maybe what are appropriate uses for it, like, maybe not using it to do all of your work for you, maybe just using it to like proofread something, or you could use it to like I think a great use for it in schools is to get like to study for a test before, like to get practice problems and stuff like that. Like they can
Yeah.
almost like, having a study guide, but it's you can just make it yourself using AI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could not take notes in school. And so if I had had the note-taking capabilities of AI, I don't know, I could have been a doctor. Well, probably not a doctor. That's a little stretch even for me, but I could have done like so much more if I had like a note taker that was the same every time. Because like they would have other students do it, and the students were very kind, but everybody takes notes differently, and so it was never like the same, and so it was hard to follow the notes. So I would have loved the AI note taking.
Yeah, that's a really good use for it. And I think that's a great point. There's also other services for that too now.
Oh yeah.
And I definitely use AI, like some more than I would let my students,
Yeah.
for things like that. Like I do use it for sometimes for like making notes for students, things like that.
Well, and I also feel like as a teacher, like you have so much to do that I would imagine it could be very helpful in like the tasks that you have to do, because a lot of it there'd be a lot of repetition, and like you might not have time for that.
Yes. I think it's really helpful for teachers in that way. And I know a lot of teachers also use it for modifying, like I've used it for translating different things. It can be good for that. Or like a lot of teachers use AI to modify the reading level of like a text.
Yeah.
It can be really good. So I know that a lot of teachers use it for that too.
Yeah, perfect. Do you think your students feel safe in your school building?
I do. I feel like my students feel safe in my building because there's a lot of amazing adults in the
Okay.
building that make them feel that way and create a really good environment in my
Yeah,
school.
that's great. What can we do to support teachers in classrooms today?
I would say for the general public, using your vote to support schools is really important. Like if you have a referendum or in school board elections, really paying attention to those is really important. I think sometimes people ignore them if they're not on like a presidential election year.
Yeah.
And, but they're really important and they really matter, and they can really affect things like our ability to access like educational technology and also class sizes. And that's a huge one.
Okay. How many students do you have per class? Usually, like you can give a ballpark.
Yeah, I would say it ranges from 28 to 35.
Okay. And
Usually.
what would your ideal class size be?
I mean, ideal is very different from realistic. I've had a class once of 18 and that was amazing.
Okay.
But 18 is quite small for a high school. That would be hard to ask for.
Yeah. Did a lot of people just drop out or what?
I think it just happened to be that way. Like that might have been the same hour as like band or something where there's a lot of kids in that. And then there's less kids, just ninth graders in the school during that hour.
Yeah. Okay. So okay, you teach ninth grade, but are they with the 10, 11, 12th graders, or are they with the 7, 8s?
They're with the 10 through 12th.
Okay. And it's like, do they have like their own wing? Some places do it like that.
Not really. It's mostly all mixed up. The wings are kind of separated more by subject rather than by grade.
Okay. So like, do all the science teachers hang out a lot?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We're a very
then,
close department.
Okay. And then do y'all like, do you have like a rival department? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I think we all mix pretty well too.
You don't have a field day for the teachers?
That would be really fun.
You could all have like play tug of war together or something.
That would be a great idea, and have like matching shirts for each department.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Y'all could come up with like your own slogan.
That's a really good idea.
The people who just like don't want to play the game, like me, we could be the cheerleaders.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm here for it. I'll start the GoFundMe.
Yeah, it's perfect.
How many, like, can you give me like a ballpark size of the school that you work in?
I think it's about 1,300 students.
Okay. And how many people were at your high school?
About the same.
Okay. So do you think that's like a good high school size, or would you like smaller or bigger?
I actually really like this size. I student taught at a very large high school, like one of the largest in the state. And that was like a little overwhelming. And there are good things about a school that big, because there's just more, sometimes like there's more functionality. Like, for example, like the copy room, like there's things, they're just more organized sometimes. But I really like at my school how I know the entire staff. Like I know everyone who works there, and I didn't feel that way at that bigger school. So I really like that. I don't know if I'd want to go much smaller than my school though, because I like having, if I go smaller, I might be the only earth science teacher. And I really like having colleagues that I teach the same thing with.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I know earth science is like, it sounds fairly self-explanatory, but I don't remember it because I was in like 8th grade when I took it. And like, what does it cover?
Yeah, so at my school, we have it split into 3 trimesters.
Okay, perfect.
So the first trimester is space science, so it's all about outer space. And then the second trimester, we do like Earth's systems. So we do the water cycle and the rock cycle and plate tectonics and the carbon cycle. Okay. And then third trimester, we do the atmosphere and climate change.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you're in third trimester now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it like, does it feel heavier because you're talking about climate change?
I think it feels kind of heavier, but it's like more my interest. So I really enjoy this trimester.
So it's working for you. Okay.
Yeah. And we come at it with like a lot of data. So it's not, I never want students to feel like I'm just like preaching at them about climate change. Yeah. So we come at it with a lot of data, and really more come at it with like, let's learn how to read graphs. And if you see these graphs in the news or something, like, how would you read this type of graph? And then we use that to like teach them about climate change.
Okay. I need the lesson on how to read a graph. I really do. Nothing to do with climate change. I just need that lesson. I just really do. And then have you ever had a student like try to argue with you in class about a fact?
Definitely, yes.
Okay.
That does happen.
Okay. And was it like a compelling argument, or was it like not even compelling?
Sometimes they're compelling. Usually they're arguments I've already heard, like on the news or social media, and just in the world. So yeah, sometimes they're compelling, but sometimes they're not.
Okay. What's the most compelling topic that they brought up to you?
I don't know if I can think of one, like a real one, but sometimes with 9th graders or just high schoolers, they get like really locked onto a topic. Like they'll just really believe the birds aren't real conspiracy theory.
Really?
And that's their thing, and they're talking about it, and they're going to try to convince you that that's real.
Like you as the teacher, or their classmates, or both?
Like everyone.
Doesn't matter, like everyone.
Yeah.
Like the mailman, the bus driver, everybody.
Or like when we're talking about space, like flat Earth will come up. Like
Okay.
they're really into it. And I will show them, at first I'll kind of show them why that's not true. And then eventually I realize, oh, they're just kind of doing this.
Okay.
I'll just let it be.
It's just gonna happen. This is
Yep.
happening.
I'm not going to be able to convince them.
So you have a cell phone policy at your school, so they're not allowed to use their phones, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and correct me if I'm wrong. Do we all have that in Minnesota now?
Yes. It was, I think, a law passed last summer, so summer 2025, that every district has to come up with a policy. It doesn't say what the policy is, but each district has to provide a policy.
Okay, so the policy could be like you can have your phone with you all the time.
I think technically it could. I don't know. I'm not an expert on the law, but
okay, sorry, me neither. So I don't know why I asked that question. Okay. What can we do other than vote to support teachers in classrooms today? Oh, I got a good one for that. Okay, what is like the number one item that nobody gets you on your teachers want it list, and then you just you never get it because nobody gets you that one because they think everybody else gets you or whatever?
Tissues.
Okay.
Must have tissues. Kids are always sick and we need tissues.
Okay. Well, and do they still in high school, do they still bring that? Do they still bring the tissues with them? Like they don't bring a box of tissues to your classroom. So It's not like you get tissues that way. So yeah, you really need tissues.
Yep.
Okay. And then my last question is, do you have any parting thoughts that you want us to know so we can help you and your students be the best that you can be?
I mean, for the general public, I think it's really helpful to have supportive parents, especially in high school. I think sometimes, parents expect that their student is ready to manage things on their own, and sometimes they are.
Right.
Sometimes they aren't. High school students are kind of all over the place in terms of caring about their own grades and learning. So I think having supportive parents behind the scenes is really important and really helpful.
Okay. Well, and I think too, so in elementary school, not just elementary school, maybe middle school too, it's cool when your parents come on the field trip.
Mm-hmm.
Well, probably just elementary school. I don't think many middle schoolers think it's cool when your parents come on the field trip. But in high school, that's definitely not true anymore. And so I feel like a lot of times the parents are like, oh, well, I'll pull back. But then it also means the teachers aren't getting support from the parents.
Right.
Which is hard.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like because I'm a twin, and so I feel like my mom, between the two of us, we had a number of different kinds of difficulties in the school setting in high school. And I feel like one of our parents was up there every other day. they were very familiar with the school property and premises and staff. Yeah. Do you have crazy Oh, okay. We're almost out of time. We have 2 minutes left. Have you had any crazy helicopter parent stories that you can share, keeping them anonymous?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm always grateful that a student has parents that are looking out for them and are trying to be involved. So I try not to see it as a helicopter situation.
Oh, that's so nice.
I'm just grateful that someone's looking out for them and trying to help them.
I do have to admit that I desperately love all those TikTok channels or social media channels where the teachers read anonymously the emails that they get from parents, and I rate it. I'm this is not the worst I've ever heard. It's right in the middle. I think this one's okay. And then I'm this one is crazy.
Maybe
I love that.
Yeah, maybe I would love to watch those with you. Okay,
someday we will. Okay, well, thank you, Emma, so much for joining us for part 1 on Boldly, and we will see you next time for part 2.
Thank you.
Okay.
Boldly Challenging Ableism is a co-production of AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and the Institute on Community Integration at the University of Minnesota. For more information, please visit ici.umn.edu.